What's going on, everybody? My name is Julian Leonard, and I'm founder of the J Leonard Group, also known as the J Leonard Public Speaking and Coaching Group. I've released 20 public speaking tips so far in 2020, which means that we've come to another question and answer session. I'm usually answering questions from viewers that takes a deeper dive into some of the topics I've covered so far, or just public speaking tips in general. So without any further delay, let's jump right into it. So question number one, is there such a thing as practicing too much for a keynote? First, let me say that I don't believe that this is a yes and no answer. Second, I can only tell you what I believe from my perspective and my experience and really what I've been through. So in general, you shouldn't stress yourself out for practicing for a small speech or even a 45-minute keynote. You have to put things into perspective and think long term. If you know today that you have a keynote presentation in September, then you need to schedule out some time up until then to practice. You can dedicate an hour of your time 3 days a week and then rest completely on the weekend. As the presentation date gets closer, you can ramp up the amount of time you practice. But that may not work for everybody. I've had some clients who have battled anxiety when it comes to preparing for a presentation. So in their case, it's not good to constantly practice. We have to figure out a schedule that works best for them and constantly adapt it depending on what else they have going on in their life and really depending on how they feel. Ultimately, your audience will be able to tell if you didn't practice at all, practice very little, or if you put some work in before you got on stage. Maybe you can't practice too much, but you can definitely drive yourself crazy constantly thinking about it. Question number two, can you explain more about what you mean by being able to adapt your presentation? When I talk about adapting your presentation, I'm specifically talking about being able to add or shave off content in an instant on the fly. So for example, let's imagine you're doing a 45-minute presentation, but the speaker after you couldn't make it. So now the event organizer has asked you to extend your presentation to 60 minutes. What would you say? Can you add content within a matter of minutes? Maybe you can't add it to your actual presentation, but do you know what to say in order to fill in time? You'll find this happening to you at least once, and how you handle it will really show a lot. It's almost always in your best interest to say, yes, I can add content. As a speaker, you should know exactly what to do, and you should never, ever panic. In that specific case, something as simple as adding a question and answer segment to your keynote could do, or maybe it has to be a little bit more detailed than that. It all depends. But before all of that, you need to have the confidence to know that you can easily alter your presentation. Same goes for taking out content on the fly. Say you originally had a 15-minute presentation, but now you have 7 minutes to present. No matter the time frame, you should be able to get the same message across with similar impact. It doesn't come easy, but you should never be caught by surprise if you're ever asked to do this. Question number three, at what point does a speaker absolutely not consider speaking for free? Now, this is totally up to you. There are multi-million-dollar speakers who still make time to speak to organizations for free. There isn't a wrong or right answer. You have to look at your personal situation and see where you are in your business. I mentioned that if you are new, then speaking for free may be how you should start out. Focusing on building that experience is how you will actually become a paid speaker. But thinking that you should get paid out the gate could potentially set you up for major disappointment. Many companies will pitch to you that you're receiving a great exposure in exchange for a speaking fee. Although annoying to hear, this can actually be true. You definitely want to be in a position to get paid and gain great exposure, but you might have to settle for the latter until you get paid. If you can get in front of an audience filled with the right clients for your particular business, then you have a strong chance to set up yourself to get paid long term. Maybe it won't happen today, tomorrow, or within a month, but a strong delivery today can bring you customers months from now. You have to also remember that just because you speak for free today doesn't mean you have to speak for free forever. You have total control over how often you speak for free. You don't have to offer any explanation for your decision, but there has to be organizations out there that are willing to pay you for your service. That's how a lot of people get disappointed. They think that they're on a certain level where they should always get paid, and it's not that they aren't worthy, but they simply haven't made it to that point yet. They still have some groundwork to do. So ask yourself a simple question. Have I laid the groundwork as a public speaker that warrants what I'm requiring as a speaker fee? Sidebar. Organizations almost always don't want to pay you what you truly are worth because they're trying to stay on budget and in a lot of cases be cheap in certain areas with money. Another thing to remember is to have a boundary. Maybe you give 1 free speech every quarter or 3 free speeches every year. Whatever that exact number is, you should stick to it. Ultimately, speaking for free can help, but you don't need to feel obligated to do it. Do it because it helps you in your specific situation, or do it because you simply want to. If you found this tip useful, please like it and share it. Comment on it as well and let me know what you think. Until next Monday, my name is Julian Leonard, and this tip was brought to you by the J Leonard Group.